Good afternoon guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to my humble little garage, where today we're going to be filming the next step for my RCF build videos. Now, just before Christmas I placed an order for some aesthetic tweaks, if you like to call it, in the form of some vinyl overlays. So we're going to be installing those today. I also purchased a couple of cans of Plasti Dip because I've never Plasti Dip and I thought it would be fun to experiment. So today is all about making the RCF look just a little bit meaner. Check this. So what exactly are we doing today? Well, I think first off we're going to hit the car with some Plasti Dip for the rear badges. So at the moment they're kind of a chrome, and I think we could probably do something by making them a bit darker. Now, I didn't go for a black, I actually went for a smoke type Plasti Dip, and we're going to put a glossifier over the top of that. So I've got my other stuff ready. There's the prep, my painter's tape, and my pull down drop sheets so we can cover the car, but I'm also going to cover it with the actual car cover for the rest of the car. The other thing we're going to be playing with today is to install a couple of little vinyl things that got sent to me from the US from a company called Blue Batmobile Overlays. I'll put the link in the description below, but these are the items that we've got. So we've got some tinted covers for the white section only of the rear lights. We've also got some tinted strips for the reflectors that are in the rear bumper. And then the last part is just in front of the front fender. There's a piece of vinyl that you can install, and it's got a carbon fibre pattern on it, and that just sort of accentuates that sort of fender vent area and makes it look a little bit meaner. And then as far as vinyl carbon fibre patterns go, this one looks pretty good and it's got a nice glossy finish. But before we get on to all of that, because we're going to be playing with Plasti Dip today and sticking stuff to the car, we need to give it a good clean. So let's get that underway. Now that the car's been given a really good clean, it's time to just do a bit of a detailed clean with the prep solution, just in amongst all those badges and in between the letters, to make sure there's no dirt or contaminants sitting in there, so that the paint's got something really good to adhere to. It's really important to get into all the little crevices in between all the letters, because that's the area that you want the Plasti Dip to stick to. So I've gone inside and I've equipped myself with a set of cotton buds just to get into all those tricky little places. So we'll give those badges an opportunity to dry perfectly, and we're going to mask around them at this stage and cover the rest of the car, just so we don't get any overspray. So the car is all masked off. They've gone a little bit overboard with the masking job, but hey, better safe than sorry, right? So the badges are dry. The next step is to crack out the cans of Plasti Dip. So we'll lay down a couple of layers of smoke and we'll finish that off with a glossifier, a couple of layers of that, and then we'll, fingers crossed, see what the result is. Alright, so the first layer is down. I've gone for a really light coat to start with. That's kind of the recommendation from all the instructions on YouTube. Now this is a smoke colored Plasti Dip. So the idea with it is the darker you want the effect, the more layers you put on. I suspect we're probably going to need about 3 or 4 coats before we get the desired smoke look to the badges, and then after that we'll hit it with the glossifier layers. But for now it needs 30 minutes to dry, and it's stinking hot in here, so I'm going to go grab a drink. Back shortly. That's our 4th coat down now, and they're getting that nice gunmetal color, which I'm kind of chasing, but I do think I'm going to go for another couple of coats just to darken it up a little bit more. And I'm noticing that this big badge here is a little bit lighter than the others, so I'm going to have to pay a bit more attention to that. Maybe give that an extra coat as well.
1 eternity later.
Alright, well I have just laid down the 6th layer of smoke, and I think it's at a point where I'm sort of happy with the color. In terms of the finish, it's kind of varied. I'm noticing one of the badges has come out quite smooth, whereas the other 2 have kind of got like this graininess to them. It's kind of got this porous finish, it's not so smooth. Anyway, we'll let this coat dry and hit it with the gloss for a couple of layers, and then we'll try and peel it off and see what we end up with. All right, it's time to shine. Alright, we've hit it with a couple of coats of gloss, and I've noticed that the gloss coat is actually taking away some of those imperfections just by having that smooth layer of gloss over the top, which is pretty good. So that's the last layer of gloss that I'm going to put on. It's probably had about 4 layers of gloss. We're going to let that dry now, but in the meantime we can take all the masking off the car, and then it will be time to reveal. The only thing I'm not sure about is the color, but we'll pass judgment on that when we can see it out in the sunlight. It's the moment of truth, so unless I've stuffed up completely, when I pull this blue tape off, it should come away quite cleanly, and then we're going to peel the Plasti Dip away from the badges, and with fingers crossed, it should leave a clean break between the badge and the actual panel. Let's give it a shot. So it's come away pretty cleanly. You could see that as I was pulling it off, there was a few little bits right in the middle that kind of got stuck. So I've got my trusty toothpick and we're just gonna elevate those little sections and try and peel them off cleanly. So there we go guys, those are the Plasti Dip rear badges on the Lexus RCF. Keep in mind I don't profess to know what the hell I'm doing, so don't take this as a guide. This is just me experimenting with the Plasti Dip. Am I happy with it? Yeah, it's not too bad for my first try. The perfectionist in me is kind of screaming a little bit around all the little imperfections. And the color, I'm not 100% sold on, but we'll let it sit on the car for a while and then reassess it. And that's the beauty with Plasti Dip, you can just redo it whenever you feel like it. All right, next on the agenda is some vinyl covers, but it is past midnight. So by the magic of video editing, let's make it tomorrow.
Day 2.
And we're back. Welcome to day number 2. And yes, I did get a haircut. Thanks for noticing. All right, it's time to crack on with the vinyl. I've got them just there. You'll also need a bottle of soapy water with a spray nozzle, something to clean the surface, a microfiber, and a squeegee. So let's crack on. So the first piece of vinyl that we're going to attach is the carbon fiber piece. This one here that goes behind the front fender. And as you can see, it's already been pre-cut, so there shouldn't be too much bending, and it's going on a pretty flat surface as well. Okay, so now the surface is clean, time to get just some soapy water. I'm just using a couple of drops of dishwashing liquid in a spray bottle with some water. We're going to spray the surface, spray the back of the vinyl, and that will allow us to move it around and get it positioned correctly. Okay, now that we've got it sitting where we want, it's time to hit it with the squeegee and the microfiber to get all those air bubbles out. Now, although the vinyl has been pre-cut, it's actually cut a little bit larger than is required. So, around some of the edges, I'm going to pull the panel away and just tuck it in underneath. And then around the back here, we're going to actually fold it round, warm it up with a hairdryer, and then try and get it to stick around the corner. So there we go guys, one side down, one more to go. Pretty straightforward process, just follow the instructions. I'm no expert, so if I can do it, you can do it. Alright, that's the other side done. My 30-second review of the product so far. Andrew's done a pretty good job at Blue Batmobile overlays. You're kind of defined as to where you're going to put it by the cutout for the F badge here. So that kind of predetermines where the rest of it is going to sit. But it's very, very close. On this side here, there is a very slight gap inside the actual vent, which no one's going to notice. But other than that, tip-top job. Very, very close. Alrighty, next on the vinyl program are the tail lights. So I think these are going to be a little bit more complicated because obviously they have to go around corners. Again, they're slightly oversized, so we're going to wrap it around the edges for that clean look, but the process is still the same. So as always, we'll start with some cleaning. So we're going to start off with the little indicator ones. And obviously you want to line it up in the areas where you can't overlap it. So the edge of the cutout from the vinyl lines up with the edge of the actual light. Push that up against there, fold it over, and then the process is just as before. There we go. Obviously that was a bit more troublesome than the fender sides, which are pretty much a flat surface. But with a bit of perseverance and patience, obviously that hairdryer is the secret weapon to soften that vinyl around the corners. And you might have seen I made a cheeky little cut right where the two corners have to overlap. But because it's on the inside, you won't see it anyway. And from the outside, it actually looks pretty good. So we'll crack on with the others. So I've just taken a break halfway through just to give you guys a look at the difference that it makes. So obviously we have the tinted side here, including the little reflector light there, versus the untinted side. I think it's quite a nice difference, gives a bit more contrast against the white colour, but it would work fine on any colour as well. It is a fiddly job. Please don't do this as a last minute rush job before a car show or something like that. It's definitely something you want to give your full attention to. Be patient. Make sure you get that finish that you're after. So now it's time to crack on and do the other side. I won't bore you with doing it all again, so it's time for a quick time lapse. If anyone knows an easy way to get these things off, can you leave it in the comments below, because this is giving me the... yeah. And with the help of some time lapse, we are all done. So we've got our Plasti Dipped badges on the back, we've got our tinted tail lights, and we've got our carbon fibre overlays for the front fender vent. So this being a DIY, I reckon we should hit some cinematic shots. In 3, 2, 1. I hope you enjoyed this quick DIY video as part of the Lexus RCF build. If you've got any comments, please leave them down below. I'm always interested to hear what you think. Did I ruin a perfectly good car, or do you like the extra additions that I've done? Remember to give the video a like, and always subscribe to the channel for lots more stuff coming up in the future. But until next time, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next video.